Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of McMillan and Morrow. I'm Dr. Sean McMillan. This is Rich Morrow,
What up?
the co-host, the boy wonder. Good to see you. How you doing? You well?
I'm doing well.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We have another exciting episode for you. Travel around the world, listening and recovering stories of people doing sometimes absolutely ridiculous things. But there is in the ridiculous sometimes some things that are sublime. We'll see what happens.
Always some nuggets that can be pulled out of these, right?
No, well,
We never know where we gonna go.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start off in California, right where we are. Have you ever heard of the term ungrading?
No.
You have not. Well, it involves stopping the use of a traditional A through F letter grade system. So
Oh, yeah. Okay.
you have heard of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to help new students adapt, some colleges are starting to eliminate grades altogether. And for me, I feel like that's actually not a bad idea. Growing up, obviously, last thing you want to do is stress about grades all the time growing up. But I've always felt it's definitely been more so about our people retaining and actually learning the information that's being given, like kind of like what you spoke on the essay situation on college. You would rather see somebody do a detailed essay from their perspective to understand them more as a person, and you can really gauge how much they know and how educated and wise they are on subjects through that, as opposed to just giving a traditional letter system where, because that's a system to figure out like anything else, you know? So I'm curious, somebody with such higher education and, you know, that's dealt with the anxiety and pressures of school as much as I'm sure you have. How do you feel about them taking that away? Do you think it good or bad thing just off the bat?
Now, I don't know if you know the answer to this question. What do they put in lieu of or in place of a grade? Isn't it like you get like what do you get? Nothing?
It said instead, ungrading offers an alternative kind of assessment aiming to ease the transition to higher education, particularly for freshmen who are the first in their families to go to college, or who were not well prepared for college level work in high school and need more time to master it. They're doing it because they say they suffer from anxiety and stress from the pressure of getting good grades so much that it takes them away from it. But it says some instructors provide narrative evaluations, and they're letting students decide between taking verbal and written exams and giving them a choice of how much those exams and homework count.
Yeah, you know, this is interesting because I'm divided.
Yeah.
I'm divided because, you know, and I'm not proud of this.
Mm-hmm.
I got graded.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So part of me wants to grade your ass too. You know?
And you can't turn that off.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to give you a note.
Yeah.
I want to give you a D if that's what you deserve.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other side of me says, no, it's actually good that people get a more nuanced assessment because grading is subjective.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, it's subjective. It's in the eye of the professor to decide whether or not you line up with whatever standard he or she has predetermined or conceived to be closer to what an A is or what an F is. The thing I really like about that, and I think this is especially good for Black kids, is to be able to take exams verbal or written because of the education system in this country and how Black folks are socialized in this country. We are not literary early.
Yeah.
But we are
articulate.
Yeah. Right? So and not being literary does not mean you're not smart. It just means that you're not in an environment where books and writing and sentence structure is emphasized in your immediate world. But the ability to articulate, to enunciate, to take ideas and reduce them down to sentences and to give them to people, because you have to adjudicate many different relationships. Now, Black folks can do that all day.
All day, that's what we do.
100% all day, right? So I do like the fact that a new way of grading is allowing genius to reveal itself in new and exciting paradigms and opportunities. That's a good thing.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, because I'm thinking about myself in school, and I was much more of a speaker in high school and elementary school than I was a writer.
Were you?
I had to work at being a writer. And people used to say to me, "You should just write the way you speak," and I would say to them, "It ain't that simple."
Yeah.
Right? It's not. I really had to learn how to write.
You know what's really funny? I was the exact opposite. I was always a writer in AP English, all of that all the way up until I graduated. But it wasn't until I did my senior speech, my senior year of high school, that I really developed and started to see that I needed to focus more on the verbal side of stuff.
Really?
Because I've always been so verbal in sports that it just wasn't a muscle that I exercised as much in the educational space because, I'd only taken like one public speaking class, I think, or something at that point. But, in a sports setting, I felt super comfortable being verbal. That was something I could do all day and, personal relationships.
But that's a different kind of verb.
Exactly.
It's a different kind of verb.
I realized when I actually had something structured that I wanted to, speak on verbally, that I wanted to really get better at that after I'd done my senior speech. And mind you, I got a standing ovation my senior. Everybody thought it was incredible. But for me, my grade of myself was, damn, I could have done that way better. And I still got that reaction. So that was when I started to realize I had a gift. But writing, man, ever since I was probably 6, 7 years old and learned how to write in cursive, I've been a natural writer and love writing, still do to this day. But I had to really teach myself to be able to articulate and really verbalize a lot of the stuff the way that I write stuff, because I can put it into words, but that process, like what you said, I love this topic. I think this is so important for our culture too, because Black people get this misconception of not being intelligent a lot of times because we don't have that literary, I feel like, backing that gives us, the opportunity to show off our genius and sharpen that tool when we're just being graded on it, whether we got an A, B, C, D, or F. You know what I mean? And there's ways to go around that system without having to necessarily master that skill that you're talking about. And to be deemed one or the other based off of that by a, subjective teacher doesn't feel like, it's the most.
Yeah, but don't take that too far, though.
I'm not trying to take it too far.
Because part of why you go to college is to encounter the literary world.
That is true, too.
Right? That's part of why you're there.
But we got to get there.
No doubt about it. But a part of why I like this is that it allows you to have confidence in your strengths without only operating in your strengths.
You're right.
Right? Because a part of the goal of education is for you to be challenged by information, ideas, and ways of enunciating those ideas that are outside of your comfort zone, right?
'Cause that's the only way you develop it.
But I like this because you're not crushed
By it.
by some unrealistic expectation that you can't fulfill because it's not your experience or your journey. So I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's both and.
Yeah.
I think it's take the verbal exam and do well because you can articulate really well, but also be challenged to become a better writer, to become a better thinker. And there's a connection between how well you write and how well you think. No doubt about that. Listen, there's no doubt about that. People who don't write at all or don't write well are usually not good thinkers because writing requires that you delineate your thoughts, that you put thoughts in declensions, right? And I don't want to get all into the weeds in that, but I think our culture suffers from the fact that, and this is the irony of culture today. We do more writing now than I did when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Texting, emails.
I was saying.
We do more writing now, but it's the worst kind of writing you could possibly do.
Because you can get away with doing it however you want.
And much of it ain't saying nothing.
Yeah.
hey,
What up?
what up? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't, in our culture, we don't really engage people in long form writing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we suffer the inability to write long form and write well means that we're not cultivating our minds.
Yeah.
And I think of all the people on the planet that needs to cultivate their minds is black folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I could say a lot, but it's gonna get me in trouble. Let's get me in trouble. Our culture happens to be led by people who are not thinkers.
Yeah.
And who don't think well.
I just happen to articulate.
I think you know what I'm saying.
I do.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So these people are prominent people in the culture, and they struggling to put a sentence together.
And a lot of people be surprised when they, come across them or they end up working with them or doing something with them, and they discover these things, and it's like, I know I've had those moments, but not calling out anybody in particular or anything like that. When you run into those situations and you start to realize that the voice is so much bigger than, basically the merit that this person has been.
Well, let's clean up the language because we're all talking about thinking clearly. The persona
that's
is so much bigger than the actual person. Right?
Yeah.
Because I think you and I think of a very similar person. And I'll put some more cards on the table. Who is a professional athlete? I'll put some more cards on the table. Very prominent athlete in this city. That's as far as I'm going to go.
You are too.
And who persona is larger than life, right?
Mm-hmm.
If this person tweets or says something, or everybody wants to know what this person says, but sit down and have a conversation. And you'll discover that the persona, the media construction of the person is far more considerable than the actual thoughtfulness of the person behind closed doors. And you're leading the culture?
There's a
like, no, thank you. And I'm gonna admit this. I don't know where, I'm off the rails. I'm a snob. I'm 100% a snob. You hear me? Look at me, people. I'm a snob. I embrace my snobbiness, okay? I do.
Yeah.
I have standards. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can't lead me if you ain't never read no damn book. Yeah. I'm not listening to you if you haven't dedicated your life to the interrogation of something serious. Mm-hmm. Just because you have a random tweet fart that comes out of the side of your head, I'm not following you. No. Just because you're rich doesn't make you important. Just because you're famous doesn't make you significant. Mm-hmm. You follow me?
And that's where I'm going with most of it, because I just think a lot of people get that highlighter on them, and they're in the spotlight, and people take that as them being and all knowing.
No, hell no. In the words of Whitney Houston, hell to the no. No, I'm sorry. No, there's got to be, and I'm not saying that everybody smart should be listened to.
Yeah, no.
But what I am saying is that there's a level of seriousness. Like, for example, the two young men that got put out of the House of Representatives in Tennessee, right? The two Justins, I forget their last name. And they're young, they're millennials, and you know how I feel about millennials most of the time.
Yeah.
But what I love about those two, those are some thoughtful guys.
Yeah, they think about what they say.
These are not some fly-by-night, seat of my pants, let me give you a colloquialism and do the same dance on TikTok that everybody's doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These are not those people.
Not at all.
These two dudes have thought about what they're doing. They have something to say.
You can tell.
You can tell that they've been in the presence of an idea greater than themselves.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah, and actually have learned from it. You can see
I'm like, these two guys are 27 years old. I'm like, listen, man, you could lead me.
Yeah.
Go on, lead me.
Because you could tell they actually learned.
Yes, because you have something to say. And more than that, you're willing to take a moral risk. Huh?
And even a safety one, because people are threatened by.
Listen, this is what I'm talking about.
That's the world we in.
So That to me is different than some famous athlete or some famous rapper.
Famous anybody.
Or some famous college basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden gets to speak for the culture. No, ma'am. No, sir. You don't speak for me.
And you know, culturally growing up, a lot of it I feel stems because, you know, for me at least, I know my experience and most people that I knew growing up in the Midwest, athletes were our biggest role models growing up because that was what we were believing was going to be the way for us to be able to get to that level in life, you know, by being an athlete. And those were the people that we looked to, and a lot of times musicians for people as well and things like that, because that's who you're hearing the most, it's who you're seeing on TV the most. And I would love to see a shift in those people being people that are more like what you're saying, learners, people that have actually valued having something to say with their platform rather than just using it because they have it. Some people have spent their whole lives working to be able to have that platform, to be able to get these messages and, you know, these ideals and these things that are actually going to be bettering our, whether it be culture or world or humanity as a whole. And those are the people that I feel like don't get the voices nearly as big as the ones that don't have nothing to say. And I don't know how we shift that culture. I love that podcasts are becoming more of a common thing. You're starting to hear people be able to speak their mind that actually have something to say. But, you know, even then, you know, there's only a few that I feel like are worth really.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know if I should be saying this, but because this is a podcast. But listen, I think there are way too many damn podcasts.
And we get to be honest about that, though.
Way too many.
But there's no way to necessarily find the ones out there without opening the floodgates and allowing people to be able to, you know, speak their mind.
Yeah. Well, to bring it back to the story.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that it's important, you know, that we give young people, kids, whomever, an opportunity to express in different ways. I do think that grading is subjective.
Yeah.
But I do think that people do need to be critiqued.
Absolutely.
You know,
somebody's got to be checked.
How do you know what you need to work on? How do you know how close you are to whatever the standard happens to be at the moment?
Yeah.
Without somebody being honest with you to say, this is what you need to be better, and this is what you need to work on.
And I think that you can't get that through the form of just asking multiple choice questions because like I said before, that is something that can be learned, but doesn't translate necessarily to mastering a topic.
Or it doesn't work in the absence of any evaluation at all.
Yeah.
You know, at some point you got to say to a student, you are not as close as you need to be to whatever the standard is or whatever the text is or whatever the idea is.
Because in life, that's what they're going to deal with.
Which is why kids nowadays can't deal with life.
Yeah.
Because we kind of, and that's why I was sort of torn between
I feel you.
Learn how to live with this C, right? Like, learn how to live with it.
Yeah, because if you earned it, that's what you got.
You know, we went a lot of places in that story.
We did, because it's a serious topic. You know, I feel like, you know, not just in our culture, but in America and the world, because, man, I mean, people are really taking shortcuts on learning stuff that I feel like at the base level ends up coming with common sense and being able to function in this world, you know, healthily. And to not have those principles leads to a lot of other stuff. And I think that's why a lot of these stories that we read end up being the way that they are too, because we got people that haven't had a solid foundation to really even have the tools to do other things in their lives. They're just doing whatever, you know?
I think we're living at a time where people think that everybody has something to say, everybody should have a voice, and what everybody has to say is valuable and important. And I just happen not to believe that. I don't. I happen not to believe that.
Which is probably very wise.
I think that every person is valuable.
Absolutely.
Every life is sacred. But what we have to say is not equal.
Yeah.
Some people are just a little more prepared than others.
And what somebody has to say is always going to be more important to somebody else, you know, than it may be to another.
True.
Because of the relationship.
And people have different expertise.
Exactly.
You know, that's like me on this show giving a hard critical critique of baseball.
Yeah.
What the hell do I know about or hockey? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. The first thing, all I know about hockey is the puck and the stick. What's the stick called? I don't know.
Hockey stick.
Whatever it's called. You trying to be funny?
No, so sick.
Okay.
It's a hockey stick.
Look, don't make me come over there.
He said, stick.
But whatever the hell it's called, I'm not qualified to talk about that.
Yeah. And there's way too many people speaking on things they're not qualified on.
Yeah, that kind of irks me.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's a pet peeve. It's like you might as well just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Let somebody know what they're talking about. Speak on it.
I
Don't speak on
can't
stuff
do
you don't
it.
know. But yeah, let's go on to this next story because we definitely went a bunch of places with that one.
Yeah.
We going overseas.
We almost got in trouble, too.
Almost.
We came about that close. Because I went to the worst case scenario and decided I didn't give a damn.
Yeah.
I did. I went to the worst case scenario and decided, I don't care. What are you going to do to me? Go pay
What
my
are you gonna
bills.
do, beat me up?
That's right. You got to find me. You got to find me first.
Oh, man. So, according to the Insider, we're going out to the Netherlands. You ever been to the Netherlands?
No.
No? Okay. This one gonna get you. A serial sperm donor who has fathered over 550 children
Aaron?
is being sued for increasing the risk of incest.
We'll come back to that. I can see Aaron being a serial sperm donor.
Pay the bills.
Aaron, you look like the type.
This is Los Angeles.
I don't know. I'm just saying. Serial sperm donor. Now he's being sued for what?
For increasing the risk of accidental incest.
What? Incest?
Yeah, because think about this. When you got 550 humans out there running around.
Oh, they could get together and not know that they're getting together. They could right, okay.
Yep. So yeah, he conceived a lot of babies from at least 13 clinics. And the majority of them were in the Netherlands. And you got to think about it when you're doing it in a certain area. It'd be different if you were probably doing it in a big city. When you got a population that isn't necessarily that big and you got 550 different people going in all different directions, they're going to have kids. You know what I mean? It could end up happening where they come across one another and they're not aware of the fact that
they're siblings.
or
Half
cousins
siblings, at
or something, you know?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how one gets in trouble for this unless he illegally fathered these children, but sperm banks exist.
Yeah, that's not illegal.
You know? And, even from just knowing people in my personal life, I know people that have done this, and I don't know how they could possibly get in trouble for something that the government is sanctioning.
Wait, you know people?
I not have done 550, but I know people that have, needed to make money out
Well,
here.
the emphasis of the question is not on the number.
But yeah, I know people that have gone to the sperm bank because it was a means of.
You know people.
I know people. I know people. And you look at the situation though, and you're like, okay,
The proverbial you.
People. You look at the situation for others, hypothetically speaking yourself.
Of course, hypothetically.
And you look at it and it's like, okay, they didn't necessarily go around impregnating these people. This is something that they went to an organization that has been set up to do this, and now they're getting in trouble for it. I don't know where you find that balance and middle ground where you stop people from overdoing it. I don't know if they have limits that they feel like they reach, but obviously when people are out in the world, there's no way to control who's going to end up falling for who or interacting with who. You know what I mean? So it's always been a
I
coin
get your
toss.
point. It's a little bit ridiculous to hold someone accountable
Yeah,
for something that is at least in part outside of their control.
exactly.
But there's a part of this that was in their control.
Yeah.
Hence the term serial sperm donor.
Well, okay. Now that you say this, there's Dutch guidelines of not being able to father more than 25 children or impregnate more than 12 mothers. I don't know if there's a law like that in America or not, but I guess 550 is way, way, way over there.
I mean, listen. sometimes I play along with these stories
I know.
as long as I possibly
Majority
can.
because I'm poking you, honestly, in most of these stories because I know you don't want to hear.
We're getting to the limit.
I get it. But
Of
it's an
my-
interesting subject, too, because I'm sure there's people out there that are watching this that have probably considered doing such a thing or not being a serial one, but, going to a sperm bank. or
Aaron, you ever
something.
been to a sperm bank?
Nah,
Not at all?
never.
No, I've never.
No.
No.
Well, you probably haven't reached that level of struggle in that stage of your life where it was an option then, probably.
I'm not poo-pooing on it.
I'm not saying that you
I'm not saying it's a
I'm
bad
just saying
thing at
there's
all.
people that I'm sure are dealing with it, and I'm wondering, what the future for that is probably going to be.
Listen,
Do
people.
you think it's like an addiction for him to have done that, and because he probably wasn't getting paid for all of them unless they know.
Be specific? What's the addiction? Masturbating or sperm banks?
I'm asking you, philosopher.
This ain't got nothing to do with philosophy.
I know, but I want to hear your philosophical
I'm
opinion on
asking
it.
you, philosopher. Like this is a philosophical question.
I'm just asking your opinion.
This ain't philosophical. And don't get all defensive.
I'm not.
Don't get all defensive.
It ain't got nothing to do with me.
This is brushing up a little too close to home. What's the question?
I don't know. Look, the lawsuit is asking.
I'm like, what is the question?
The lawsuit is requesting that he be banned from new donations and stop communicating with prospective parents. And I think he has a right to be cut off at this point anyway.
Cut off from being able to donate sperm?
Yeah, any further.
Oh no, the question was, what is the addiction?
Yeah, do you think there's something addiction related to why it went on?
Yeah, he's obviously addicted.
Yeah.
He's obviously got a problem. I mean, are you kidding me?
Just asking you what you think that problem could be.
Jacking off. That's his problem. He likes to jack off in clinics.
Who? Yeah.
I mean, once or twice is fine. I mean, but he don't went too far with this, don't you think?
Yeah. 13 different clinics.
No.
Or what if he just really needed the money and he felt like that was the only way he could do it without harming anyone? People robbing banks instead, robbing people. He robbing the sperm bank, I guess. But
the problem with that line of thinking is that now he's in trouble.
yeah, exactly.
So he might have been better off going to be a dishwasher. You know what I'm saying? Instead of beating your meat in a cup, go wash some dishes. It kills me when people say this is the only way.
Yeah.
Because it ain't the only way.
Not in this world. We got it.
No, it ain't the only. And this might be the only significant thing that comes out of this little story.
Yeah.
And that is that we have to deal with the fallacy of someone allowing themselves to believe that this is the only way.
Yeah.
Life has more than one way
Always.
to bless you or to get you out of trouble. It ain't the only way.
Do you think there should be a limit on the amount of children people are allowed to have?
I'm stuck on ain't the only way. Let's stay over there. Okay? Because that's far more significant than the limit people will have with some damn kids. It ain't the only way. Here's why this is important. Because we will accept things and do things that are beneath us when we believe it's the only way. It ain't.
They need to write that on the bottom. I'm sure they're going to have that down.
No,
there.
it's
that
not.
Needs to be written down.
How-
Say it one more time.
It's gone. How many times, how many times, I know I've done this, Tyler, Aaron, tell me if you agree. How many times have we made like really dumb decisions, bad decisions,
Yeah. Thought
right?
back.
And thought back to ourselves, what the hell was I thinking? If I had just done X, Y, Z, A, B, C, right?
It was way easier
Which
and
is
less
way
stressful.
easier, but we convinced ourselves this is the only way. This is the only way this can happen. Or that all these doors were closed and this was the only door. It's not the only door.
That brings up a lot for me. I'm over here thinking that probably happens so much more than we actually realize.
Yes.
Yeah, where you're like, damn, we really were focused on this one door so much. Probably because of something in a period of our life that we were focused
Absolutely.
on. You know, and then you look back and you're like, man, if I actually got outside of my blinders that I had on, I would have seen that there was a whole world of options. And I think a lot of people can take stuff from that because I know even me at this stage in my life, you know, I'm in the beginning of my 30s, but at the same time, something about the end of your 20s that brings reflection, I feel like, when you look back on your entire 20s and your teen years and growing up. I look back on a lot of situations that I felt the exact same way about that you just said, where I felt like it was a linear path in my eyes at the time. But looking back on it and being more educated now on the subject, and obviously hindsight is 2020. But you look at it and you're like, damn, maybe if I slowed down and I actually evaluated where I was, not from the perspective of me being in it right now, but thinking in the future about worst case scenario, how this may affect me in the future, and what I may think years from now if I look back on this situation, as opposed to me just focusing on it in that moment. I think I would make a lot of different decisions if I did that more often.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
And I'm not, let me be clear about this too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that we make decisions that we would not have made if we were in a stronger position and therefore we should feel guilty about those things.
No.
Because it is what it is and you've done what you've done, right?
You got to do what you got to do.
Absolutely. What I'm saying is, I lost a job once, and I could not see how I was going to pay all these damn bills.
Yeah, it was just.
I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I had all those damn bills. So
It's like they pop up.
You know what I'm saying? When the check stopped coming, you're like,
Did the bills multiply?
I was like, I pay bills the whole month. I thought you only pay bills the first week of the month, right? I'm like, God. I couldn't see how in the world I was going to be able to do that because I was so used to doing it a certain way.
Habit.
Only to discover at the moment I invited the spirit of allowing myself to adjust, allowing myself to be flexible,
Open to change.
to be the willow
Yeah.
and not the oak, right?
Yeah.
Because the oak won't move in the wind. So he breaks. But the willow bends and lives.
Yes, we got to be like water.
And the moment I decided to allow myself to be like the willow, I survived. Different things came that I could not have foreseen.
Yeah, because you would have been.
They
doing
showed up because I said, I'm going to adjust.
Yeah, because you can't expect different results doing the same thing. I mean, that's literally the
No,
definition.
but that's a different point.
But you get what I'm saying.
The point I'm making is when you adjust, when you say, I am open. I'm open. Open to what? I'm open. You know what I'm saying? I'm open. Any way you want to bless me.
Yeah.
Any way you want to make me better, I'm open to it. Come to me.
Yeah.
Come into my life. That's the moment where you begin to understand, I'm going to be all right. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. Because if that doesn't work out, this will. And if this doesn't work out,
Something
that
else
will. And if he don't call me back, she will.
Yeah. You just got to keep on trying. Keep on keeping on. Yeah, I love that. I feel like people are going to be able to take from that for sure because that's deep. That's powerful too.
Yeah, don't be so desperate, people.
Yeah, and that's really a word that came into mind when we were talking about that was the decisions usually that are the worst ones come when you feel desperate.
Yeah.
And most of us are never in a position where we're desperate. I think, as long as we are breathing and we got, air in our lungs and we are alive and we're healthy, you're not in a position where you should feel that you are a desperate person.
Now you may not be comfortable anymore.
It might be highly uncomfortable.
But that's different from being desperate.
It's different from being desperate. I feel like desperate is a mentality.
Well, I mean,
where you're almost willing to do anything to just feel more comfortable. And it's a slippery slope. I get it.
My point is, let's pull these two things apart, right? To be desperate is a condition of serious, unavoidable, grinding, meticulous need.
Yeah.
I am desperate.
Like life and death.
Whatever it may be.
It feels like life and death for you.
Being uncomfortable is not that.
Yeah.
It means that your normal pattern Your normal way of achieving comfort and pleasure and happiness has been interrupted.
Yeah.
The ways that you normally get it done, you can't do that anymore. That's not desperation.
Yeah.
That's being
But people
uncomfortable.
confuse it for it.
And that's why I'm pulling the two things
Yeah,
apart.
when you pull them apart, you
You got to
definitely
know
see the
which one
difference.
you are. Are you in desperation or are you just uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Because I can understand you doing some things in desperation that I can't understand you doing just because you was uncomfortable.
Lack of comfort.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Make me throw this shoe at the camera.
And that's an accountability and
And most people, I'm sorry to cut you off, but most people don't know the difference.
yeah.
And we allow other people to convince us that we're desperate when we're really just uncomfortable.
That's
And
it right
people
there.
will manipulate you.
Into making desperate
Huh?
decisions.
When you're not even desperate.
Yeah.
You have more help than you realize.
Yeah.
You got more support than you've asked for. You got more trying to work towards your good than you have even considered.
Yeah.
And you sitting in here about to lose your mind.
Feeling desperate.
Right. When the truth is you just uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable.
Come on here. Don't get me started. I'm ready.
Yeah, no, I feel that. One of the things my coaches used to teach us when I first got in college, because, playing at the Division I level for basketball is really, really intense. And there's not really anything that can prepare you for that until you get thrown in it, right? So what he would tell us, our strength and conditioning coach, was you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And he would push us to a point before we even started practice, to the point where we were at pure exhaustion. And then start practice, because then we would have to start thinking while we were tired and getting used to, he wanted us to get used to thinking and being logical and doing things that we would do out of habit when we're not tired, the same way when we're exhausted, and uncomfortable. And I feel like that was a strong lesson for me, just like what you said, because once you get comfortable being uncomfortable, you'll never be feeling desperate about anything, because now you understand this is just a lack of comfort right now. I have a disruption in my pattern of life that had me feeling happier than I am right now.
I agree. I have a subtle pushback.
Go ahead.
Do we need to stop?
I don't know. You? Does that happen?
I've never heard that before. Don't.
Is it, let me
It
see
sounds
my-
like a
my
building
mic.
alarm like next door.
And the mic
Ooh.
picking that up.
It is, yeah.
I'm looking like,
Damn.
do you hear that?
He had a point too. He was ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
You
remember.
remember? Yeah, write it
Oh,
down
oh,
so you
oh,
don't forget.
We done. It started.
It must have been somebody's like house alarm.
That sounded louder than a car.
Sounded
alarm.
You remember your point?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a. We recording?
Yeah, we never stopped.
I have a subtle pushback because I don't ever want to get to the place where I'm comfortable being uncomfortable all the time.
Not all the time.
No. Let me lay it out. Because I do want pleasure. I do want joy.
We deserve
I do want to know the soft, secure squeeze of earth between my toes. You know what I'm saying? I do want that, and that is important for the development of your humanity to know what it feels like to be strong and secure. The point you're making, and I'm just pushing because clarity happens when you push. Clarity happens, transformation happens when you take an idea and you squeeze everything you can out of it, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so my point is to say, it's not being comfortable, being uncomfortable all the time. It's understanding that when you are uncomfortable, it won't kill you. You're not about to die. Look, listen to me, people. What's the camera? You are not about to die. This is not going to kill you. It may stretch you. It may make you cry. It may exhaust you, but it does not have the power to destroy what it didn't create. You were created by something greater than the thing trying to kill you. Lean into that.
That's a word.
What is that?
That's how we know we got some gems dropped right there.
You know, but you get my point?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the hell the story was about the sperm bank. I don't know, but I just went into my own thing. My own little
I
thing.
damn near don't even remember the last story,
You
but
know?
yeah, it doesn't matter. I think we got more meaning out of that conversation than we did out of the actual story.
Yeah, listen, I'm telling you,
That's a serious subject.
it is, and it cuts close to home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there have been times when I was like, how the hell is this going to happen?
Mm-hmm. But it's a great skill to be able to have, to have the relentlessness in this life that isn't easy. Being human is not easy. And one of the things that comes with it is having times where you're going to be uncomfortable. And you have to learn how to deal with that. If you don't know how to deal with that, you are going to feel like it's destroying you.
Yeah.
You are literally going to feel like that. But it's never the case because just like you said, something that did not make you does not have the power to destroy you. And a lot of these things that we make bigger than what they are consume us because that's the power we gave them.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
agree
at a
with that.
stage of my life now where I'm starting to take my power back from all of the things that I feel like I've given too much power to. And I feel like that's a real important stage for me because I know on the other side of it, man, that uncomfortableness is going to be less and less in stages that I probably felt uncomfortable before. I won't feel as uncomfortable because now I'm looking at it from a different perspective. I feel like it's definitely helped me lately, In this conversation, I feel like it's going to add another layer onto that. So, yeah, I appreciate that, Doc.
See there? I'm just,
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
I got a story for you too next. I know you like pizza. We was just talking about pizza before.
I do like pizza. This is a pizza story?
It's a pizza story. It's a feel-good one too.
Let's do it.
According to the LAD Bible, again, this is in Ireland. A man lost weight while eating breakfast. Let me back up. A man lost weight while doing a 30-day challenge, eating pizza for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
That's my dream. My dream in life.
He's a personal trainer too.
No. I'm dreaming. I want that for myself. I do. You talk about comfort. That would be if I could eat pizza 3 times a day and not gain a pound
Actually lose weight.
and lose weight. I would know in that moment that God is real and that love did create the universe and that there is something written in the fabric of my days that will extend my life, not into perpetuity, but long enough for me to have that kind of joy.
Just that joy of
Just the joy of the cheese and the tomato sauce.
So it broke down to him pretty much having 10 slices a day through breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And he did that every single
And
day.
he lost weight?
And he lost weight.
I'm trying this. What kind?
I'm sure it depends on the kind of pizza.
I was about to say, what kind of pizza did he eat? This is what I need to know.
So he said, I had 2 pita pizzas and 1 larger dough-based pizza per day. This equated to roughly 10 slices per day. The hardest part of the entire diet was the preparation, he said. Opting to make the pizza himself rather than order it out. So I'm sure having organic.
Well, that's where he lost me. Aaron, that's where he lost me.
You might be able to hire a chef to do it.
Hire a chef? With the money they pay us to do this? No. I can't afford no chef. I gotta listen. I can't. I knew there was something that was going to mess this up for me.
We might be able to find a sponsor that might be willing to do it, though.
Yes.
Put that out there.
Yes, if we find
Just
a
for you.
pizza sponsor, I would be great.
If there's any pizza sponsors out there that want to sponsor Doc in his 30-day journey to success and experimenting with this pizza, journey, we would appreciate you heavily. What kind of pizza you like? You never know.
Cheese.
Just
I'm
who got the
bored.
best cheese pizza?
I'm boring.
in LA? We need to
I'm
need
really
to have y'all
boring,
hit us
people,
up.
okay? I don't do all that. I'm really boring,
Hey,
okay? But 10 slices of pizza a day,
can you handle that?
that'll make me speak in tongues. Listen, I'd run around my house. If I eat 10 slices of pizza a day and lose weight, in the words of The Color Purple, when I saw you in that store, Miss Seeley, I knew there was a God.
I knew that. Yo, so I have a question then. Since you only eat cheese, do you feel like you need to switch it up? Because he said he needed to switch it up after a while from his favorites to different ones, just to have variety.
I'm a weirdo when it comes to things I like. I don't know how you
You can
guys
stick
are.
to the few.
When I find I like
Yeah.
it, that's what I want.
Yeah, that's how Juice is, my best friend.
Yeah.
He's just like, he'll listen to the same song for 3 days just because he's like, I like this one. Well, I'm like, All right.
Yeah, I'm not. Well, I don't know if I'm away with music. But,
No, but you like that with everything. It's funny.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
When I know and it's good,
It's your thing.
I don't need to go experiment.
I'm pretty much like that in my
I done
life.
found what I like. Give me that. I can eat something over and over and over and over and be fine with it.
I recycle probably the same 6-7 meals, I feel like, throughout the month for the most part. I might venture outside of it a little bit, but I'm probably around 6 or 7 of the same.
I am the least adventurous eating person. How do you that's not the best way to say that.
Experimental. You're the least experimental eater ever.
Yeah, thank you.
I've kind of noticed that a little bit.
No, don't bring no crazy to me. I'm not doing it.
Okay, we're going to get pizza later. Let's see.
Okay, smile.
You cool with that?
This is joy.
All right, so this is wild. This is in LA. You know it's wild. A 9-year-old girl didn't want her goat slaughtered, so the California fair officials sent their deputies after it. And, you know, she was real close with this goat. She raised it, whatever. When her goat Cedar got sold and slaughtered, and she couldn't bear with the thought of it, and her mother took her from the fair, you know, without her permission. And the city now is offering to, you know, pay for the expenses of the goat. But this was her favorite goat, basically, in other words, that the state fair took and slaughtered and barbecued. And this little 9-year-old girl was completely devastated. And
Why am I laughing?
because it's crazy, they barbecued Shorty's.
How did they get the goat? If she loved it so much, how did they get it?
They said Cedar had been taken to a farm in Sonoma County, and
This is confusing.
Correction. It was bought to be slaughtered, and her mother saved it from the fair where it was going to be slaughtered, and they took the goat, and then there was a whole raid where they found where the goat was being held in the sanctuary, and they sent vehicles, they broke down doors to go
They had
capture
a
this
whole-
goat and make sure that it got slaughtered, because that was the whole point of it. So like they literally did like a whole FBI raid to go get it.
To get a damn goat.
Yep.
These people have nothing better to do than kill a 9-year-old girl's goat. What's the kind of world we live in? I mean, it's crazy.
that's wild.
It is, and it's wild for reasons that are beyond the story itself.
Exactly.
Because you'd be surprised that people will obsess over something that is so insignificant,
Yeah.
and they will assign all of their energy to it, and you start wondering like, why the hell are you so committed to this totally
cause.
insignificant thing? It's because you just determined to kill this goat.
We place value in the strangest things
I
as people, not we.
don't.
So
So the goat is dead, right? It's a dead goat. Somebody ate it. Look at you. You about to. What happened with you? He just had a whole moment.
I was laughing and I burped. That was crazy. I wanted to ask you a question. Do we eat goat meat regularly?
Who is we?
Just thinking, like, is that something that's commonly
Human beings?
eaten as people?
What is? Yeah, right. People eat.
I was gonna say we eat lamb.
If you're a Jamaican, you eat curry goat.
A lot
Dirty
of
goat.
a lot of halal food, like Mediterranean. Like,
Yeah,
Okay, so it's
people
more in
eat
the
goat.
Mediterranean where people eat it more. I was gonna say I see lamb more often, but goat, I'm over here thinking like I see goat
People
cheese
eat
more than I
goat.
see just
Yeah,
goat
people
meat.
eat goat. I mean,
Okay, I wonder how it tastes.
listen, if people eat a damn snake, they eat a goat.
Yeah, that's true.
So
People eat way worse than snakes. We done talked about it on this show.
what's the worst thing you ever ate? We're here now, so let's
The
just
worst thing I've ever ate,
Yes, the worst thing, and be honest. Don't you lie,
intentionally.
oh,
intentionally or unintentionally. Don't lie, because you know I got power.
I mean, the first thing I want to say, just food-wise, off the top of my head, is chitlins.
Oh,
Traumatizing.
hold on. Which for our white viewers are pig intestines. We love you, by the way. Pig intestines.
Pig intestines.
He's eating pig intestines, the literal intestines of a pig.
It's like a thing, in our culture though. Growing up, my nana used to make chitlins on the holidays, and you'd always walk in like, what is that smell? And they talking about you just gotta put hot sauce on it. Hot sauce ain't helping that. Hell no.
But you ate it.
I had to try it because they forced me, but I'll never forget that one little bite that I had. I'll never forget. It was traumatizing.
So I'll tell you a story equal to the one you just told me.
Okay.
My mother used to cook chitlins, and you smell it in the
Smell it
house.
right now.
And she would apply all this pressure, to
make you try
to
it.
eat the chitlin. And the difference between me and you,
You ain't do it.
there is no pressure nowhere from anybody convincing me to do something I don't want to do. I
My
don't get
nana is crazy.
no. I mean, I'm not knowing your
couldn't
nana.
avoid
I'm just saying, I'm not eating no damn pig intestines.
I couldn't avoid it.
So that's
it was only once.
Hold on. But that's the worst thing that you've.
I think so, but I've accidentally eaten bugs before, not on purpose, but ooh.
Aaron, what's the worst thing you've eaten?
Hands down, chitlins.
Chitlin.
The exact way that he said it.
That's gotta be a common
that
thing.
Echoed my sentiments.
We got to do better. Why do we force our young children to have to deal with chitlins if they don't want to deal with chitlins? Because I don't think no kid openly wants to try chitlins. And it sounds like we all getting pressured and peer pressured in our own homes growing up to try these chitlins.
It sounds like you and Aaron need to learn how to say no.
So my
you're
thing
4
is,
or
it
5
touched
years
my
old.
food, and I ate that food that it touched, and that was enough for me. I didn't even actually get to the chitlins.
Like, I don't even want nothing that's been on the same plate as some chitlins.
Maybe I've been this way my whole life. We're coming to you next.
Oh, God.
Maybe I've been this way my whole life, but I'm really good at saying no.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. No, we will sit at this table all night. I'm not eating that. What's the worst thing you've ever eaten?
It was like this fermented fish eye in India.
Okay.
Here we go. Here we go.
See, it's-
It was supposed to be like exquisite, and I could barely keep it down. It was.
No.
I felt rude.
no. See, listen. That's so interesting you say that.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why I'm gonna get in so much trouble. I'm about to really get fired. Part of the reason why I don't like going to Asia is I'm not messing with the food. And y'all pray for me. Pray. And I don't have enough couth to act like I'm gonna eat it.
So you wouldn't be able to hide your face or fix your
No, and like what you just said, you wanted to be hospitable.
Yeah.
The hell I do.
respectful. Yeah, if you're in somebody's home and they offer you that,
I don't care. I'll be sitting at your grandmama's table and she's been preparing this for 6 days. I'm not eating that. And you just gonna be offended.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been in situations at dinners before too where they've made one or two questionable things that have been on the plate, and you're looking, and you don't want to be rude, but I used to try to scrape it across.
No.
Spread it out across the plate so it looked like it's not as much on there.
Maybe it's me, but I don't mind being rude.
I don't know.
I'm not doing it.
I just don't like being there.
I'm not doing that. You go to certain parts of the world that I've been to before, and the mess that they eat.
Yeah, it's too much.
What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? And you put this on my plate? You expected me to eat this just to what? Make you happy? That's not happening. You're going to be upset when we leave.
Definitely.
You're going to be mad.
That note, Doc, we got to get out of here, but man, I'm glad to.
Are we done?
Yeah, we done.
Oh, okay.
Time fly when you're having fun.
I guess so, because I had a whole other thing I was about to go into. Anyway, thank you for tuning in to McMillan and Morrow, people. This was a good one. We'll see you next time. Make sure you join us, okay?
Every Thursday.
Yes, what he said. All right, see you next time. Don't eat chitlins.
Did I cut you off? Would you go say something?
The content on McMillan and Morrow is provided as commentary on news and current events for entertainment purposes.
Hey, everybody on the YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. If you like what you see, make sure you like and comment and share, because we got to spread the joy, people. That's how it goes. See you next time.